Hi, this is another edition of the Stuart Doll Show, starring myself, Stuart Doll. I am coming to you live from my house right here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And the current temperature right now is about 23 degrees, and it feels like 24 degrees right now. Oh, pardon me. That was a good one. Anyways, for you people that do not know me, I'm Stuart Doll, or you can call me by my first name, Stuart, or Stu, or Stewie. I don't really care. I am from Baden, Württemberg, Germany. I was born there October 16th, 1990. Strangely enough, in the same month and the same year that Germany reunified as a whole country again after it being divided for 28 years because of the Berlin Wall. And that, what else? Let's just get right into my show. As you all probably, all you WWE fans might know, Roddy Piper died on July 30th, 31st. Yeah, Roddy Piper just died last Friday, July 31st, 2015. He was born October. His real name, Roddy Piper's real name, is Roderick George Rowdy Toombs. He was born April 17th, 1954, and he just passed away because of cardiac arrest on July 31st, 2015. Better known by his rename Roddy Piper. He was a Canadian professional wrestler, actor, podcast host. In professional wrestling, he was known for his work with the World Wrestling Federation, basically for short WWF, later WWE, and World Championship Wrestling, for short WCW, in the mid 80s to late 90s. Although he was Canadian, due to his Scottish heritage, he was belated as coming from Glasgow, Scotland, and was known for his signature kilt and bagpipe entrance music. He earned the nickname Rowdy and Hot Rod by displaying his trademark Scottish rage spontaneously and quick and wit. Industry veteran Ric Flair hailed Piper as the most gifted entertainer in the history of professional wrestling. One of the most recognizable pro wrestling stars worldwide, Piper headlined several pay-per-view events. He participated in main events at WrestleMania 1 and I believe WrestleMania 10. As a special guest referee in later, he accumulated 34 championships in various promotions during his career. Piper's most notable rivals included Greg Valentine, Adrian Doris, and Hulk Hogan, with the feud against Hogan also involved Captain Lou Abellino and a singer, I can't pronounce he or she's name. Considered being in rock and wrestling, Piper was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005 and was named the top villain in wrestling history by WWE. And I am going to go into and tell you some of the accomplishments and championships that Piper's won over his wrestling career. I'm not going to name all of them because there's too many. In the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, World Championship Wrestling, he'd won the NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title 3 times, the NWA Television Championship 2 times, and the NWA/WCW United States Heavyweight Championship 3 times. And in NWA All-Star Wrestling, he became the NWA Tag Team Champion, Canadian NWA Canadian Tag Team Champion, one time with Rick Martel. He also, in NWA Hollywood Wrestling, he won the NWA America's Heavyweight title 5 times, the NWA America's Tag Team titles 5 times with various partners. He'd also won the NWA World Light Heavyweight title 1 time. And in NWA San Francisco, he'd won the NWA United States Heavyweight title, San Francisco version, 1 time. And the NWA Tag Team Championship, San Francisco version, 1 time with Ed Nowinski. I can't pronounce his name. Anyways, and then in Pacific Northwest Wrestling, he won the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship 2 times, and the NWA Northwest Tag Team Championship 4 times with 4 separate partners. And in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, he'd won Match of the Year in 1985 with Paul Orndorff versus Hulk Hogan and Mr. T at WrestleMania 1. The Most Hated Wrestler of the Year, 1984 and 1985, the Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year, 1982, and the Most Popular Wrestler of the Year in 1986. PWI ranked him 17th of the highest best single wrestlers during the MPWI years in 2003. In the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame Museum, he is in the class of 2007. In World Championship Wrestling, he won World Class Championship Wrestling. He won the NWA American Tag Team title 1 time with Bulldog Bauer. In WWF/WWE, he became World Tag Team Champion 1 time with Ric Flair, WWF Intercontinental Champion 1 time, and he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2005, and Slammy Award for Best Personality in the Land of Thousand Dances in 1986. And then in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, these are some of his accomplishments. Best Heel, 1984 and 85. Best Interviews in 1981. Best on Interview, 1982 and 1983. But then also that in 1981 too. And the Worst Worked Match of the Year, 1986, versus Mr. T in a boxing match at WrestleMania 2. The Worst Worked Match of the Year in 1997 versus Hulk Hogan at Super Brawl. I don't know exactly what that pay-per-view is from what organization. And then he also was in the Wrestling Observer's Newsletter Hall of Fame class of 1996. So like these are just these are just like all the championships and accomplishments that Roddy Piper has accumulated over the course of his wrestling career. And I'm gonna read you, on his death too. On July 31st, 2015, Piper died in his sleep after a heart attack at the age of 61 in his home in Hollywood, California. Piper is survived by his wife Kitty and their 4 children and 4 grandchildren. The news of his death broke minutes before Hall of Heroes dinner capped off the Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Mid-Atlantic Wrestling Legends Fan Fest in Charlotte, North Carolina, where about 600 current and former wrestling personalities and fans had gathered. They received a 10-bell salute after a planned salute to follow to fellow former professional wrestler and WWE Hall of Famer Dusty Rhodes, who died in June of 2015. Vince McMahon, the CEO of WWE, also made a statement commenting that Roddy Piper was the most entertaining, controversial, and bombastic performers ever in WWE. Beloved by millions of fans around the world, I extend my deepest condolences to his family. Hollywood director John Carpenter also said, devastated to hear the news of my friend Roddy Piper's passing today. He was a great wrestler, a masterful entertainer, and a good friend. In an HBO Real Sports interview conducted by Piper in 2003, he predicted he was not going to make 65 due to his poor health, lifestyle, and in 2003 returned to WWE as was to because he could not access his pension fund until he reached 65. And it is really unfortunate for Roddy Piper, but yeah, and this is for the family, Roddy Piper's family. I would like to send my deepest condolences out to the family and friends of Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper's gonna be really missed because he had that, trademark Scottish rage because of the Scottish heritage. That's what everybody loved about Roddy Piper. But he's surely gonna be missed. And that, what else? Now I'm going to go into tell you a little bit about his early life. Toombs was born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan on April 17th, 1954, and was raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Oh, pardon me, excuse me for that. He was a majority Scottish descent with some Irish on his mom's side. He attended Windsor Park Collegiate, and his father was an officer with the RCMP, the longer version for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, while they lived in Nepal, Manitoba. After being expelled from junior high after having a switchblade school, he had a falling out with his father. Piper hit the road and stayed in youth hostels, picking up odd jobs at local gyms, running errands for several professional wrestlers. As a young man, he became in playing the bagpipes. Though he repeatedly stated that he was unsure exactly where he picked them up, his childhood and lifelong best friend, ex-Alien Jeller and Stanley Cup winner Cam Connor. His early career, Roddy Piper's early career and training. This is what I'm going to read about, and this is from Wikipedia. Piper was a boxer and an amateur wrestler before he started to become a professional wrestler. He'd won the Golden Gloves Boxing Championship and was awarded a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu from Gene LaBelle, American Jiu-Jitsu champion, instructor, stuntman, and professional wrestler. By the age of 15, he made his professional wrestling debut in Winnipeg against Larry Hagan. When Roddy made his way to the ring playing the bagpipes, The ring announcer introduced him as Rowdy the Piper. The fans in attendance heard as Roddy Piper, and the name stick. From 1973 to 1975, Piper was a jobber in the American Wrestling Association, for short, AWA, the NWA Central States territory surrounding Kansas City and in the Maritimes. He also worked in Texas for Paul Bosch's NWA Houston Wrestling Promotion, and in Dallas for Fritz von Erich's Big Time Wrestling. And here's some stuff about Roddy Piper from the NWA. By late 1975 and early 1976, Piper was a top villain for Mike and Gene LaBelle's NWA Hollywood Wrestling. In 1977 and to 78, he also started working for Roy Shear's NWA San Francisco Wrestling, in addition to remaining with the Los Angeles office, where Piper developed his rowdy character. During this time, he made continuous insults directed at the arena's Mexican community. He was later promised to amend by playing the Mexican national anthem on his bagpipes, only to anger the fans further by channeling I'm not gonna pronounce it. Instead, Piper also served as a manager for several villains in Los Angeles and worked as a referee from time to time. In the Los Angeles area, Piper feuded with Chavo Guerrero Sr. and his father, Roy Guerrero. Piper and Chavo faced each other in several matches for the Jules Strombo Memorial Scientific Trophy. Piper also defeated Chavo for the America's Heavyweight title. During the feud, Piper lost the hair match, and he had his head shaved. Piper appeared in several leave town matches, and he was forced to leave the territory. He also appeared in the territory as the Masked Canadian. In his first televised match as the Masked Canadian, Piper teamed with Chavo in a match against Black Gordman and Goliath for the America's Tag Team Championship. Piper and Guerrero lost the match and faced each other 2 days later, with Piper defeating Guerrero for the America's Heavyweight title. Piper wrestled as the Masked Canadian for several months until he was unmasked by Hector Guerrero. By late 1978, early 1979, Piper left the California promotions for even more fame. In Don Owens' Pacific Northwest territory, he teamed with Killer Tim Brooks and Rick Martel to win the NWA Pacific Northwest Tag Team title. Piper also won the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight title with victories over both Lord John Boyd and Playboy Buddy Rose. And here's some stuff from his time in Georgia Championship Wrestling and the Mid-Atlantic from 1980 to 1983. In the late 1970s, Piper ventured into Mid-Atlantic territory, where he beat Jack Briscoe for the Mid-Atlantic title. He also defeated Ric Flair for the U.S. belt, then which turned into a feud. From 1981 to 82, Piper served as a commentator on Georgia Championship Wrestling, for short GCW. WCW, which was renamed World Championship Wrestling in July, and the feud with the likes of Bob Armstrong, Dick Slater, and Tommy Rich. During the summer of 1982, Piper became a fan favorite after knocking out Don Morocco and Ole Anderson to save broadcaster partner Gord Solo from Morocco. I can't pronounce it. Anyways, who had grown angry at Solo, questioning his tactics in wrestling to wrestling. Gerald W. Morton and George M. O'Brien described the transformation. The drama finally played itself out on television when one of Piper's hired assassins, Don Morocco, suddenly attacked commentator Gordon Solo. Seeing Solo hurt, Piper unleashed his Scottish fury on I can't pronounce it. Pronounce his last name. In the week that followed, the Achilles avenging. I can't pronounce it. Basically, long story short, Roddy Piper had. Hey, I think he had a lot of feuds with people, and that here's some of legacy of Roddy Piper. Piper is considered one of the greatest talkers and heels in wrestling history. Piper's pit interview segments were considered Voltaire, especially in an atmosphere where only people like the world champion got to talk, and the wrestlers were interviewees. There were the interviewees, never the interviewers. Many of the people in Piper's Fair never got to be world champion, but were main eventers, according to Bobby the Brain Heenan. He could just leave Piper in the room and return 20 minutes later and having Piper, with Piper having done a Class A promo. WWE named him the greatest villain in wrestling history. Mixed martial artist Ronda Rousey, nicknamed Rowdy by her friends. However, she intentionally rejected using it after professionally feeling it would be disrespectful to Piper. After being introduced to him through Jean LaBelle, Piper gave her approval to use the nickname. One day after his death, she dedicated her next day's UFC 190 title match with Beth Corral to him. After quickly winning, she noted him first in her post-fight interviews, and that's really good that Ronda Rousey did that, because even Roddy Piper was a really awesome guy, even though he may have only became like the Intercontinental Champion one time, or he never became WWE Champion, Roddy Piper put in over the course of his career, put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and to work his hardest in the wrestling industry, and it paid off. And that, what else? Dusty Rhodes. And as you all know, Dusty Rhodes, better known as the American Dream, Was born October 12th, 1945 in Austin, Texas, and he died June 11th, 2015 in Orlando, Florida. He has children. His children are Goldust, Cody Rhodes, Kristen Rolls Ditto, and no, I can't pronounce. But again, this is he was in Dusty Rhodes' real name was Virgil Riley Wells Jr. And again, here's some of the, and I'm not gonna name all of them because there's a long list of accomplishments that also Dusty Rhodes has. In Central States Wrestling, Dusty Rhodes won the NWA Central States Heavyweight title one time, the NWA North American Tag Team Championship Central States version one time. In Championship Wrestling from Florida, he won the NWA Brass Knuckles Championship Florida version 2 times. The NWA Florida, not even going to pronounce the title, 1 time. And NWA Florida Globe Tag Team Championship 1 time with Magman TA. The NWA Florida Heavyweight title 12 times. That's a really good accomplishment. The NWA Florida Tag Team title 4 times with 4 separate people. The NWA Florida Television Championship 2 times. The NWA Southern Heavyweight Championship Florida version 10 times. Again, that is an amazing accomplishment for Dusty Rhodes. The NWA United States Tag Team Championship Florida version 2 times. And the NWA World Heavyweight title 1 time. Excuse me. And in Georgia Championship Wrestling, these are the 3 championships that Dusty Rhodes has won 1 time. The NWA Georgia Heavyweight title, the Heavyweight title, the NWA National Heavyweight title, and the NWA World Heavyweight title 1 time. And then in International Alliance in Australia, he won the IWA World Tag Team Championship 1 time with Dick Murdoch. And then in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and Jim Crockett Promotions / WCW Wrestling, he won the NWA United States Heavyweight title 1 time, the NWA World Heavyweight title 1 time, the NWA World 6 Tag Team Championship 2 times with the Road Warriors. And for you WWE fanatics, you all know who the Road Warriors are. The NWA World Tag Team title Mid-Atlantic version 2 times with Dick Slater and 1 time, and Manny Fernandez 1 time. And then the NWA World Television Championship 3 times. And he'd also won the Jim Crocker Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament in 1987 with Nikita Kurl, I can't pronounce it, and Barker Bunkhouse Stampede in 1985 to 1988. And he was in the WCW Hall of Fame class of 1995. And then in Pro Wrestling Federation Florida, he won the 1 time he'd won the PWF Heavyweight Championship 1 time. And then he was also in the National Wrestling Alliance, or for short the NWA. Dusty Rhodes is also in the NWA Hall of Fame class of 2011. And then Dusty Rhodes also won in the NWA Big Time Wrestling, the NWA American Tag Team Championship 2 times, and the NWA Brass Knuckles Championship Texas version 2 times. And these are just a long list of championships and accomplishments that Dusty Rhodes has over the course of his career. What else? Here's some of the early life on Dusty Rhodes. After high school, Rhodes played football for West Texas State and the I can't remember, but anyways, Dusty Rhodes was an amazing wrestler, and so was Roddy Piper, and both of them are going to be really dearly missed because they were two awesome guys in the wrestling industry. And what else? Well, this has been another edition of the Stuart Dahl Show. I'm signing off for now. For you young people, stay in school, stay out of trouble, and you'll do fine. And this has been a special edition of my show, the Stuart Dahl Show, on the deaths of two great wrestlers, Roddy Piper and Dusty Rhodes. They will be dearly missed. But for you young people, stay in school, stay out of trouble, and you'll do fine. And Auf Wiedersehen, peace, and stay cool and frosty, my friends. And also Heigl Deutschland.